Hey guys, this is a Volvo 240 that will be working on. It's had a front end collision with this cross member or radiator support that's been damaged. We're gonna attempt to straighten this out as much as we can. If not, we'll be trying to replace this. The hood as well is pretty badly damaged. You can see that it might be beyond salvaging. We might have to replace it as well. The interior, I've cleaned it up somewhat. It's got some really bad, pretty much I think unsalvageable paint on the roof and on the hood. Some of this will be, I guess, polished out, but not much of it. It's seen a lot of sun exposure. As you can see, some of the things are cracked and missing due to just many years in the sun. The goal is to make it drivable, and yeah, right now I took the battery out of it and I took apart much of the front to see what the extent of the damage is. That's why you see missing screws and nuts and bolts everywhere. So now the goal is to get the battery in here, which I have. I wasn't sure if the battery would be salvageable, but after keeping it on and off the trickle charger for about a week, we were able to get pretty good battery health based on the what we saw from the battery tester. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the battery in, start the car, then we're gonna take the battery off again, and we're gonna attempt keyword to get to the oil separator box, because I have a feeling that has not been touched or replaced or cleaned on this car, which means that the oil that's seeping out from the front here is due to most likely a clogged up PCV system. Now the challenge with this car is a lot of the rubber is incredibly brittle, and as you touch it, it slowly just kind of crumbles. So, I mean, PCV components have to be replaced anyway, but that is one of my fears with working with the rubber on here. I have been using ATP 205 in a spray to sort of soften up the rubber again and get it new life, and that does work, it seems, because I'm feeling some of these components and they actually feel soft again and flexible, which before they were just crumbling. This is I believe, part of the PCV system, if I'm not mistaken. Could be the EGR. It's controlled here. And so basically we are just getting acquainted with this car. There is oil leaks all the way here. You can see quite a significant one, probably from the top camshaft cover. We will see. The car runs fine until the battery died, which is understandable because it was sitting at a Coparts. If you guys know of someone who has in Texas, in Houston, I'm in the city, if someone has a blue or just what do you call it, a hood that I can put on this car that you have no use for, and maybe possibly this front radiator support, if you've got that, and any other parts that you could possibly donate to me, I would really appreciate that. If not, I will do what I can, work and save up, and hopefully replace a lot of these parts myself over time. And the goal is to hopefully salvage this Volvo and sell it to someone if someone's interested, and if not, then to have it as a daily driver. So that's the goal right now. It's got a clean title and no accidents or anything, so I'm guessing somebody ran into a pole or something. The inside is relatively, well, that's the dirt I carried in, but everything else has been sort of cleaned to the point where it is presentable. The AC worked when the car was running. Right now the car is in sort of like, it's presentable. I've gotten the grime and dirt off. I'm gonna take off this protector. It's been, I guess, installed by someone. Someone installed an aftermarket radio in here, So basically the car is inside. It's in very decent shape. As you can see, this is broken. Obviously, this always breaks. But other than that, the car is in very presentable shape. The tires are Michelin with good tread on all 4 tires. These rims are cracked. Probably need to be replaced. But other than that, there's no rust in the car because it is a Texas car. Before that, it was in Colorado, but I believe it was not exposed to too much snow. I don't know what part of Colorado, but everything is, I don't see any signs of rust in the typical places that the car sees rust. So rust is not an issue, and then dive in and see if we can clean out the PVC system, because if that's not clean, you're gonna pop. The pressure should be negative, but when you have a clogged PVC system, the system becomes positive, and instead of pulling stuff in, it's gonna push out, or it's reversed. Either way, the PVC has to be clean. It's been a while since I made my other YouTube videos on the Volvo, so we are gonna get in there the best we can and see if we can clean those parts out, just so that the car runs better. We're gonna check the front here with the. Actually, before I put the battery, I'm gonna check the air filter and see in what condition that is. And because once the battery's in, that's harder to access. And always when working on a car, just disconnect the battery, because if you short anything, you blow out a CPU, a computer, a fuse, that's a whole nother thing that you do not want to mess with. Okay, so what's cool about this car is also it's got an OBD1, which is this cool system which you plug this little thing into one of the holes, and you gotta have it's gonna blink, and that's like a 1 2 3 1 2 almost like SOS, and then tells you what part of the car is not functioning. So we don't have a lot of daylight. Let's get into this. All right, just as I suspected, this was completely black. The flame trap, I already sprayed cleaner into it, and you can see that it's clogged. There's some kind of hard piece here. There's oil all over the side. As I got into it, I realized I don't really have time to film. I was getting off the hoses. This intake thing has holes on it that got rubbed through on the bottom, which means I'm gonna have to replace that piece. I might put something on there temporarily, but I need a new piece of that. They're not too expensive if you don't get the genuine part. So now I'm just going in, I'm taking off the tubes, I'm cleaning everything I can get to, all the hoses, and basically this was black. I didn't even know it was red until I just sprayed degreaser all over it and got into it a little bit. So yeah, everything is really clogged up. This car never had a proper Volvo mechanic do maintenance, somebody who understood a Volvo and the PCV system, or if they did, they didn't care. I don't know. Either way, this stuff is completely clogged up, and I know just by the reflective sheen of the oil around that box that it is a horror down there. So I'm going to try to get to that next, and hopefully I'll be able to put all this whole mess back together from memory. If not, it's why I have the camera. I know these funky hoses go to this new, my 86 Volvo does not have some of the EGR and crap that was later added to help mitigate problems with the environment and such. So no, I'm all for saving the environment. It's just that some of this stuff, it should have been more accessibly made so you could clean it out quickly. The flame trap is on top and it's pretty accessible, but the flame trap is only the beginning of the problem. That box down there, the oil separator box, is a nightmare to get to, and I think it really should have been made more accessible. That's my opinion on it. Anyway, I'm losing daylight, so I better get cracking. All right, now we got a problem here that, so if you can see, that is the flame trap right there, the end of it. That's where, well, the flame trap goes into the oil separator box, sorry. That's the oil separator box on there. You can see it's covered with a nice layer. Doesn't want to focus. Okay, there it is. That's the top of it. That's where the hose, flame trap hose goes into. The only issue is that this model has also an EGR system. So I think this is part of the EGR, but the EGR also goes, I'll show you, in EGR, basically it's supposed to work like the fuel valve system, and what it does is it somehow reduces pollution, but basically what it really does is clogs up and prevents the engine from working well. Now, in order to access the box, which is fuel trap, as you can see right here, you need to either get the EGR out of the way or sneak underneath and somehow get to the bolts that hold the box in. And that's going to be our biggest problem. I believe it's right here underneath. Let's see if we're going to get you in there. That's the bolt, I believe, right there, if I'm not mistaken. Right there in the center. And that's what we have to get to somehow. I already undid the top bolt, and I think I lost it, but I'm not going to shed any tears over that bolt. Even though I like to do everything by the book, a little bolt missing there is not going to really make a difference. Now the hose that goes to the flame trap, one of the hoses, at least there's lots. This is the small one. I cleaned I'll show you if I can get this out right now with one hand. I cleaned out the flame trap, and now you can sort of see through it. A piece broke off because these aren't really meant to be cleaned. They're sort of meant to be replaced. The other hose, though, the problem that goes to the box itself from the bottom of the flame trap is trashed. You see cracks everywhere. There's not a lot of working space, and that's the main issue, is that bolt is pretty tight, and all I have is some pliers that I can get in there, but I don't have the room to turn it off, and it's stuck on there pretty good. So that's the next step. Idler control valve. Idler control valve, and here we removed a lot of the hoses. We're still trying to get to that box. We're going to have to watch a video on how the heck to remove the EGR so we can get to the box, which we can't get to right now. We have the MAF sensor cleaned. That's ready to go back on. A lot of this stuff is ready to go back on. The only issue is that we can't get to the box, and until we get to the box, I don't want to run an engine that has pressure that's pushing out the seals. I don't know how bad the damage with the seals already is. I don't want to push it out further, so we are going to continue this tomorrow or next weekend to try to fix that issue, and that's going to be another week. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.